Knicks insider James Edwards has revealed the Knicks have shown interest in both Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart from the Detroit Pistons, and even included a mock trade involving Mitchell Robinson, who did just get injured, as we all know. And we have to break this down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into the video. Because as we know, Mitchell Robinson's down. He's out with an injury until either December or January. That is when he'll be reevaluated and be able to try to come back and play for the New York Knicks and be the defensive stalwart and best offensive rebounder in the NBA. But the Knicks are going to have to do something in order to hold off on. Now, yes, this is the most popular topic that we're doing a good amount of coverage on. And honestly, we have like 2 more videos on it, and then we'll move on to other stuff. But there is some stuff to break down here, considering the Knicks now are in panic mode, trying to figure out a situation to bring in another big man. And James Edwards, who has taken the role of Fred Katz, for everyone who knows who Fred Katz is, of the Knicks beat writer, no longer that, got promoted, and James Edwards is now the New York Knicks beat writer. He is the insider covering the New York Knicks for The Athletic. And he broke down an interesting story discussing that the New York Knicks are interested in none other than Isaiah Stewart of the Detroit Pistons. Now, as mentioned by Edwards, New York has spent a good portion of the last few months scouring the league to address its lack of depth at the position. According to league sources, the team has shown interest in trading for Detroit's Isaiah Stewart, among others. Now, this would be a very interesting pickup for the New York Knicks. Stewart does make $15 million per year. I did just do a video the other day talking about the Knicks' interest in Clint Capella and the fact that they are discussing ways with the Hawks for them to acquire Capella. Now, the problem is he's worth $22 million. That's his contract, and the Knicks don't have that. They don't have enough salaries to match, unless you were to trade like DiVincenzo or Josh Hart, which obviously the Knicks would never do. So there's no real feasible way for the Knicks to acquire Capella unless he gets bought out. Stewart makes $15 million, so there is a similarity there where it would be hard. The Knicks would have to do some financial gymnastics to acquire Stewart. But it definitely is something that's possible. The Knicks certainly can go out there and acquire Stewart via trade in a way that they can't exactly do that with Clint Capella. Now, Stewart's an interesting pickup for the Knicks. He puts up 10 points per game, really 11 points per game, with 6.5 rebounds in a smaller role than he had the year prior. He also shoots 38% from deep, can score inside well. Isn't the same defender, but does block around a shot per game, can hit threes in the corner, great catch-and-shoot shooter at 38%, gives the Knicks a much different look than Mitchell Robinson would with the team. Now, obviously, pairing the two of them together with one of them being the backup and one of them being the starter would be interesting. I kind of see Stewart, and this is not a great comparison. I don't want to make this full comparison, but I kind of see Stewart as just a better version of Precious Achiuwa for the Knicks in a sense of like undersized big but can hold his own. I think Stewart is better than Precious, and they're not the same player. Stewart's a much better shooter. Precious is a more versatile defender, we'll say. He's a more versatile defender than Stewart, so they're not the same player at all, but similar undersized vibes where it feels like Stewart would fit the Knicks a little bit better in the sense that he is a better player and the Knicks need as much talent as humanly possible. Stewart can go out there and be an undersized starting center for the Knicks. He does fit better next to Julius Randle than Precious does also, which is another good fit. Just adds more shooting, and we know the Knicks want to add more shooting. If you guys remember back in early July, CP the franchise had Ariel Helwani on his show, and they were discussing just moves the Knicks might still want to make. And CP did mention the Knicks do have some interest in Karl Anthony Towns for one specific reason. Now, as CP said, the Knicks want Towns. They see what Boston can do with a true 5-out system, and we have to monitor the Julius Randle extension. Not necessarily advocating for that trade, just telling you the interest is real. Essentially, the Knicks had interest in Karl Anthony Towns. They've had consistent interest in Towns, as Towns does give the Knicks a different look in a sense of like it makes a 5-out squad. You have OG, you can guard big men. The Knicks would have to trade Julius Randle in order to make that work. So it's a question of would Towns even play the 5? Would the Knicks find a way to keep Mitchell Robinson and do that? Though the trade that makes the most sense financially is Mitch and Julius for Towns. I'm not saying the Knicks are going after Towns. They're really not going to acquire him at all, so don't take this the wrong way. I'm reiterating something in the sense of if the Knicks want to do a 5-out roster or a 5-out lineup, they absolutely can using Isaiah Stewart. I don't want this to turn into some, why are we bringing up Towns? Just for reference point, that's it. Now, real quick before we keep going with this, something I do want to mention is that you could find me on Jets Digest if you are a Jets fan, or if you're a Yankee fan. I'm also on Yankees Digest, so make sure to subscribe to both those channels if you have interest. But Edwards also put out a mock trade involving Mitch, swapping him for Isaiah Stewart, where the Knicks would also trade Deuce McBride and a 2025 first-round pick, and they'd get 2 seconds back. I have nothing but respect for James Edwards. I'm a big fan of him. I'm going to try to have him on Knicks Digest at some point throughout the NBA season. No, James. No. No, sir. I know who you were covering before this. I know the team. I know you were covering the Pistons, James. I did my research. This trade's never happening. No way, no how, never. All respect and love to James Edwards. Not saying he's being biased towards the Pistons. I just wanted to make a joke. Look, that trade's not happening. Mitchell Robinson is more valuable than Isaiah Stewart. There's no way around that. Obviously, there is no way the New York Knicks would do this trade. It is absolutely not one that would happen. But the Knicks, financially, trading Mitchell Robinson for Isaiah Stewart does work, which is why this got brought up, and it does make some sense in that, right? But Mitchell Robinson fits this Knicks team too well. He fits the Tom Thibodeau mold too well. So if the Knicks were to trade Mitchell Robinson, they would get a rim protector back. There's just no way around it. Look at how Tibbs runs his teams. They're not going to play without an elite rim protector, and Mitchell Robinson does that. There's no way this trade goes through. Obviously, you guys saw the thumbnail. You knew this was coming. But that is not going to happen at all. But the Knicks do have interest in the other Detroit Pistons big man, someone who does cost more than what Mitchell Robinson costs, and that is Jalen Duren, the even younger Pistons center. Jalen Duren might be another option worth looking at for the Knicks, according to Edwards, but with where the franchise is right now and where it wants to go, what Stewart provides defensively would be more valuable than Duren, who needs to make real progress on that end, might provide it down the line. Now, that is the key behind Jalen Duren, guys. The stats look lovely. 14 points, 11.5 rebounds per game, even 2 assists. Shoots 61% from the field. Guys, Jalen Duren is not a great defender. He is not. For someone who plays like that, his defense is lacking. And that's why Edwards is saying Stewart would make more sense, and he's right on the front of Stewart's a better defender than Duren is. I just think you put Duren with Tom Thibodeau, Athela Harrington, and Mark Bryant, Jalen Duren's going to learn how to play some defense and play some real good defense real fast. It's not going to take long for Duren to figure that out. I stand by. I think Jalen Duren would be a phenomenal pickup for the Knicks because I do think he'd figure out his defense pretty quickly. I have no idea what just flew by my head right there, but I did see that also. Essentially, the Knicks have to go out there and get a center who plays more defense just in case Mitchell Robinson does get hurt again later on in the year. After he comes back before the playoffs, the Knicks need his defense, or they need someone's defense that's equivalent. So they can't really be trading him for Isaiah Stewart. If the Knicks want to figure out a way to do some financial gymnastics and trade for Stewart, I do love the idea. I think it would work. He is undersized. It is worrisome. In that case, there's an argument of why not just keep Precious Achiuwa anyway. But it is an interesting idea. I'll be honest. I think centers who shoot threes at an efficient rate are overrated, but still, I still want the Knicks to go after one. I just think it adds a nice little difference, and I mean, Stewart, unlike most centers who shoot threes, the man can play some solid defense. I think it would be an interesting move, at least something that I'm happy the Knicks are considering. Let me know what you think down below. Like, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day, and go Knicks.